Thanks, Chair. And Minister, I don't think I got an opportunity as yet to congratulate you on your elevation, and I'm just wondering, the grass may be greener. I imagine it's just as difficult to cut on the other side too. I want to bring up something here that is within the remit of the COVID committee because it relates to hospital inpatient stays, elective days and hospital capacity, and that's the issue of the second cath lab at University Hospital Waterford. We now have 7 cardiologists in that centre trying to access all of their patient schedules through a single cath lab. You're aware it is in the programme for government. I know government has given a commitment to build a project, but I'd highlight to you that a tender is being issued in September and it's going to take 4 months to evaluate who it should be awarded to, and it requires an Office of Government Procurement review. Will you give a commitment here today, Minister, to short-circuit that process, please? There is no need whatsoever for that to take 4 months. This project is now heading for 2 years and we have yet to award a grant of tender build.
Thank you, Deputy, and can I acknowledge the ongoing work you did before you were a member of the Oireachtas and now. Deputy, I think you and I, to be fair, both know that your question is not within the remit of the country's response to COVID-19. Nonetheless, I know it's something that is very important to you, to the TDs in the Waterford area, and most importantly to the people in Waterford and that region. The programme for government gives very specific commitments on this, and I think it's something that you and Minister Butler and Deputy Cullinan and the other deputies and public representatives in Waterford deserve great credit for, because you have fought a very hard fight for that, and as we both know, there has been some very significant pushback. The second cath lab being put in place is a massive win. The time it takes to put in is based on the appropriate guidelines. I am more than happy, Deputy, to ask for a report and see if that can be accelerated, because I am all too familiar with how important having that facility up and running is to the people that you represent.
And to the patients as well, Minister, most importantly. So thank you for that. If I just move on there, you and I both discussed the Type A contracts that were looked to be offered at the time of the private hospitals deal, and I heard you reference earlier that the funding is being put aside to try and look at additional capacity. Will you, if contracts have been written with the private hospitals, will you again be looking for private fee-paying consultants to either be included, or will they be excluded from providing a service in that arrangement?
Deputy, can I just clarify, is your question with regard to a future contract with the private hospitals in the context of COVID for the coming months?
Correct, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so all options are on the table. Tenders have been put out to all private hospitals. It's not being done in a coordinated way by the association this time. Tenders have been put out for services, for beds and for surge capacity. They're being negotiated hospital by the HSE, and it is entirely possible that as well as procuring beds, as well as procuring diagnostics, that we would indeed be procuring on a procedure basis, just like the NTPF does right now, which obviously would involve the people currently working in those private institutions.
Well, I think that would represent the best value for money. Just on another point, in terms of the lack of consultants in the country, you'll be aware there's a large number of largely, I suppose, foreign doctors who have been residing in Ireland for many years at registrar position. And is there any opportunity now to look at either additional training or trying to fast-track some of these doctors? They absolutely have the experience. It would appear that they're, for other reasons, not being appointed to consultant positions. I think that's something that you should look at. You don't need to give me an answer on it. I'm just saying I think it's something that you need to look at. Also, with respect to the National Ambulance Service, and we're talking now about the issues of COVID and the deferment of elective patient procedures, etc., but there's been significant issues with the National Ambulance Service in terms of resourcing. As you know, there was tendering for new ambulances and additional capacity. Again, I think that's something you need to look at long and hard before the winter comes in. And could I just, because my time is up, could I also, I'm going to send you on a document which I imagine has been sent to many TDs and Shannon members, and it's in relation to a submission which is backed by Professor Michael Levitt, a Nobel laureate from Stanford University. And I think it would be worth discussing it with NEF. It obviously challenges some of the perceived wisdom and thinking that is pertaining at the moment, and I think it would be important that it certainly gets looked at by other outside health experts to make sure that we all agree we are following the best path. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.